Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if there's probable cause for those charges. Probable cause simply means it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who's committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me today, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings unless and until the State Attorney's Office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this morning, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there will be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be, and if you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you haven't had an opportunity to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there are 2 assistant state attorneys in the courtroom with me this morning. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear affirm, tell truth, whole truth, none but the truth. Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Christine Early. Morning, Christine. Date of birth?
2/8/86.
All right. Christine, you're here on a warrant was signed by Judge Toner. He found probable cause for 1 count of retail theft as a misdemeanor. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State we can tell them this early.
I'm showing a petty theft, disposition guilty in 2018 out of St. Petersburg, a battery disposition guilty in 17 out of Brooksville, and also, I guess she has 18 CF 1156, which as the date of offense was.
It's right in the same time frame.
Yeah. So that's all I'm showing, Your Honor.
Okay. Christine, I have an address for you on Jefferson Street here in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
I've been there for a year.
Do you have a job these days?
No, sir. I'm on disability.
Okay. All right. I'm going to set your bond at $500. You'll be back in court on this on the 17th of August, but this doesn't change any of your other court dates, all right? Whatever those are, you got to keep those. This is just adds one, all right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Karen Gallagher. Morning, ma'am. What's your date of birth?
5184.
All right, Karen. I have this morning. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 counts of possession of a new legend drug, 1 count of possession of methamphetamine, and 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Showing a pretrial diversion for cocaine out of Hernando County in 2010. Other than that, Your Honor, no other history.
Karen, I got an address for you on Sunshine Grove Road. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Only a few months.
Okay, where were you before that?
I'm homeless.
Okay. You got a job these days?
I had one coming up, but not right now, no.
Okay. Karen, I'm going to set your bond at $500 on each of the 6 counts. That's going to be a total of $3,000. They're all coming back on the 21st of August. If you bond out, you should contact the public defender's office right away. If you're unable to bond out, they're going to come see you before you go to court again, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Judge, what date is she coming back?
21, 8/21.
Thank you.
Yep. Deborah Ludesdorf. Morning, Deborah. What's your date of birth?
April 3rd, 1961.
Deborah, I've got two issues this morning. The first is a charge of driving on a suspended license. There's probable cause for that. And then it appears that you're currently on felony probation. Is that right?
Yes.
And so we have a probable cause arrest for the violation of probation, so there's probable cause for both those charges. As to those charges, Deborah, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'm going to appoint the PD. On the driving on a suspended license, I'm going to leave the bond on that at $1,000. That's coming back on the 17th of August. Of course, on the felony VOP, your bond is going to be no bond. You're not getting out today. That one's going to come back on the 17th of August. Public defender will come see you at the jail before both of your court dates, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie Salvato. Morning, Jamie. What's your date of birth?
April 3rd, 1995.
Jamie, I got one count of retail theft. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you plan on hiring private counsel. You're going to represent yourself. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
A disposition guilty for DUI enhanced in Hernando County in 2015.
And Jamie, I have an address for you on Martina Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yep.
How long have you been there?
12 years.
Do you have a job these days?
Yeah, I work at USA Benefits Group.
Okay. And Mr. Story, is Jamie currently on misdemeanor probation? For the DUI. Do you have any idea of how far along she is?
Judge, she's been reporting and made some payments, but she hasn't started any of her conditions yet. So.
Oh, when did she enter a plea? And is it with me or Judge Rupi?
She came on probation in February with Judge Ruby.
Okay.
You need the case number, I have it.
No, that's all right. But I'm just going to move this. What would be an appropriate Judge Rupi arraignment date that is earlier than the 17th of August? Yeah.
August 8th.
There you go. Pardon me. All right, Jamie, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set the bond on this at $500. And I'm going to move it to the 8th of August. The reason I'm moving it to the 8th of August is because you're currently on misdemeanor probation. And it's probably about a 99% chance that the folks at probation, now that they know you picked up a new charge, are going to swear out an affidavit for a violation of probation. And since Judge Rupi is the one that put you on a probation, we're going to send this case to her because, like I said, I think you're going to have been arrested on a VOP before then. The bond on the VOP will be no bond. I tell you that because if you spend money bonding out on this charge before the VOP comes down, two things. One, you lose the money, and two, you lose the time, because I'm quite certain that Judge Rupi will give you credit time served in both cases if you stay where you are right now. Of course, that decision is entirely up to you. If you do bond out, you should contact the public defender right away. Like I said, this one's coming back August 8th, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley Taylor. Morning, Miss Taylor. What's your date of birth?
4285.
All right, Miss Taylor, I have 16 counts this morning. I have a grand theft. I have a scheme to defraud. I have obtaining controlled substance by fraud. And then we have possession of oxycodone, oxycontin, hydrocodone, alprazolam, tramadol, liquid morphine, fentanyl patches, codeine, clonazepam, hydromorphine, morphine, temazepam, and morphine sulfate. Probable cause for all those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
I'll have a private counsel.
Very good. State?
I'm showing an out-of-state Illinois DUI in 2004 with no disposition.
Judge, if we may, please, can I approach briefly on this?
Sure.
Charges you got a lot.
16.
That's plenty. My understanding is that they could have charged her with more. They charged her with enough that she might be working with her family's contacting them and not retaining as of yet. But if the court, based on what the detective had said, give her cooperation, give her what the sort of I don't know what the bond schedule is on the 6th. But
Okay, well, you understand the concern with,
sure.
with what I see here is that it's something other than I have a bad back.
Oh yeah, listen, that's why they didn't charge her with trafficking. I think it was trafficking.
Okay.
One of the charges.
Nope.
That's what they said because I think she helped. So if they, some of
You know anything about this?
I don't know more about that. So judge,
Okay,
just take
I'll tell you what I'm likely to do
just
here.
take it whatever you're going to do.
I'll move it up. So date-wise, I can do that.
Okay.
But otherwise, I know she doesn't have any history, but it looks like a scheduled bond thing to me because it sure smells like something other than personal use. Oh, it's going to be huge.
Right.
It's
Okay.
going to be 35, something like
Sure.
that.
Then
She said she's hiring private
Gotcha.
counsel too. So.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Taylor, I have an address for you on Freeport Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
A little over a year.
All right. And I'm assuming, based on the probable cause affidavit, you're unemployed at the moment.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm certainly concerned about these charges. For today, I'm going to leave your bonds per the schedule. I would encourage you to hire counsel as quick as you can. It may be that you can get back in front of your circuit judge when you get there and get a bond reduction, but I'm uncomfortable doing it this morning based on the facts that are in the probable cause affidavit. So those bonds are going to be $3,000 on the grand theft, $2,000 on each of the 13 counts of possession of controlled substance, $2,000 on the scheme, and $2,000 on the obtaining controlled substance by fraud. That's going to be a total of $33,000. These are coming back on the 21st of August. Very important that when you have hired counsel, they know about that date, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, I'll catch up with you on that one. And Elijah Silver.
Morning, Your Honor.
Mr. Samus.
Judge Jason Samus for the record on behalf of Elijah Silver.
Mr. Silver. Okay. Mr. Silver, date of birth?
05-18-99, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Silver, you're here on a case that was signed by Judge Heineman. Judge Heineman found probable cause.
We would waive rating, Your Honor.
Okay.
Number of charges with him in the jail yesterday.
Okay.
I'm asking for. Please, sir, please can I have medical? I don't see.
Okay. And Mr. Samus, what do you?
Judge,
hang on. Let me get through the state first, and then I'll get to you. Go ahead.
Judge, Mr. Silver has no criminal history that we find is related to this racketeering information filed by our office. He's alleged to have been involved in 7 counts, so all would be very serious. We would ask that the bond that Judge Heineman set remain in place.
And they, just so I know, because I know there's all of these young men have been sort of trickling in here and there over the last couple of weeks. Are they all going to the same place, judge-wise? Are they going to the same docket, or?
So we charged all the same information, Judge.
Right.
They would all be in front of the same. They would all be in front of the same judge. I didn't see where. Looking at those, I didn't see where
It says Judge Merritt on here, and I don't.
That would probably be my understanding. I believe 1 or 2 have already been charged.
Has anybody been to Raymond already?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Bridget, is that something you can figure out?
Yes, sir.
Big dry Elizabeth Tom.
All right, well, that'll be something for the state to clean up. I'm sure it's not a big concern to Mr. Samus. But all right, Mr. Samus, what do you want to tell me?
Judge, Mr. Silver's 19 years old. Significantly, Your Honor, he doesn't have a job at the moment. He's indigent. His family is here. His mother, Marcella Silver, as well as his grandparents, who all live in the area. Significantly, Your Honor, he has no prior criminal record. And once he was aware that there was a warrant for his arrest, he voluntarily, with the help of his mother, got on a bus from Colorado, where he was living and where he's lived a lot of his high school time, and came back and turned himself in to the sheriff's office yesterday. He's not a flight risk. He's fully aware of the charges. He is someone who came back to face whatever he needed to face. He also, in Colorado, was about 1.5 credits away from graduating from high school. He had held a job for 2 years and was being trained for management. And he has, because of this, is losing the opportunity on some football scholarships to small schools. But Judge, as I said, this is not someone with a long history. This is someone who came back voluntarily to face the music. He has hired our firm to handle his entire case. I am confident that he will, I'm positive he will be at every court date that he needs to. We would ask, Your Honor, consider lowering the bonds.
Can you tell me, Mr. Samus, when he went to Colorado?
He lived in Colorado for most of his time in high school. He came back here last year. I think he went either end of February or March.
He left Florida again end of February.
Yes.
Okay.
And I can confirm he did turn himself in. I got a call from Detective Portland yesterday that was.
Well, and I understood that. Now, obviously, Mr. Samus is here. I'm assuming he encouraged and helped arrange all of that. He wanted that to happen because he knows, even if Mr. Silver doesn't. Okay.
And Judge, his mother can testify as to his indigency and lack of money. If Your Honor would.
I'll tell you what. I mean, obviously, Mr. Samus, these charges are a concern.
Absolutely.
And it's a large group of young men, so everybody in this situation is 20 years or younger, I think. Here, I'll actually give you the offer. If I may, I would reduce the bonds for you, but if I reduce the bonds, he's going to get GPS, because the answer to that is that the last predicate incident here is February 16th, and then shortly thereafter he left.
GPS would be wonderful, Judge, and that would be fine if his family is on board with that as well.
State, if you want to lodge an objection to that, you can, but I think that helps. If you wanted to lodge an objection for the record.
Well, our position is the bond should be the same.
Right.
But certainly, if the court's considering lowering the bond, then we certainly would request you to do that.
All right. Okay. So I'll tell you what I'll do on each of the counts. The total right now is 30/60/91, 150, 180. I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm going to set the bond in each case at half of what it was set. So that means on the RICO 5, on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home invasions 15, and on the attempted murder 10. So it's a total of 90, with the condition that he's subject to GPS monitoring at his expense. It's set for arraignment right now on the 21st of August in front of Judge Merritt.
August 21st.
Right.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Sims.
That concludes my business. May I be excused?
Sure. You got somewhere else you want to be, huh? He'd rather be here. All right, we'll catch up on that one too, clerk friends. Jason Bonas, are you ready, Ashley? All right, let me do this one. Thanks. Want to throw out your date of birth?
05/25/1978.
Jason, the charge is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Private counsel, please.
Very good. And state what you can tell me.
AIDS Willis, adjudication withheld in 99, and then I'm showing a battery with pretrial diversion in 99 as well.
That's it? Oh.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Bonus, I have an address for you on Wild Grape Place in Riverview. Is that where you live?
Affirmative, yes, sir.
Okay. And you have a job these days?
I'm a retired Florida State paramedic.
Okay. All right, I'm going to set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Franklin Shanks. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, you don't contact him through any social media. You don't have a third person contact him. Don't go where he lives, don't go where he works, don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting him, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and you can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if he wants to contact. So if you answer your phone and hear his voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see him, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that he cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision he gets to make. He may go to the state attorney's office and say that he wants the charges dropped. He may tell them he does not want to participate in this prosecution, but that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you must assume they are not dropped, and you must not have contact. In addition, I've got to hold it today up until 4 p.m. so that if he wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. I'm going to have you back in court on this on the 17th of August. Very important when you contact your lawyer, you tell him about that date, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then,
Your Honor, would it be possible to see Donald Tozzi next?
sure, we'll do that right now. And then I'll do Tazi. Be the guy in the wheelchair. I'm guessing. Tozy? Yeah.
The state may have an offer on him, but it sounds like he's a little
Yeah, he's got an open felony too.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think.
Yeah. Sergeant Caribou, I can do first appearance without him standing there if that's easier.
You can. They're trying to pull him up for you.
It's not necessary for me. My feelings won't be hurt if that's what you're concerned about. Yeah, well, we're not taking a plea today anyway. I'm thinking free and voluntary would be a tough call. Deputy, you got warrants? Why don't you come up, I'll sign your warrants. Okay.
You can go on without him, sir. Thank you.
All right. We'll leave him in the end, and if he wants to come, then super. All right, Richard Carter. Morning, Mr. Carter. What's your date of birth?
11/29/71.
All right, Richard. I have 3 warrants for you this morning. Looks like they were all signed by Judge Merritt. In each case, he found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on those warrants is no bond in each case. I can't change that. I'm going to have you back to see Judge Merritt on the 21st of August, and the public defender will come see you before then, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Ms. Gleason, you ready, Ashley?
Oh, yes, sir. Judge, she's coming forward. Thank you for allowing us to do that today. It's a PTI agreement.
Oh, okay.
We're going to waive our right to any motion to suppress.
You got a case number?
2017 MM4097, I believe.
And you have contract in hand?
I have the contract in hand. It's been signed by the state, myself, and her. Not by the probation, but they'll do that shortly, Judge.
Very good. All right, so Ms. Gleason, with a not guilty and a waiver of speedy, I'm going to put you into that pretrial intervention program. If you complete whatever it is that you've agreed to do, charges against you are dropped. Never come back and see me again, okay?
That's the plan.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Judge.
Vietnam? Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
September 26, 1982.
Sir, you're here on a warrant I signed. I found probable cause for one count of burglary of a conveyance with a battery. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire private counsel? Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Could you please give me a public defender, sir?
Absolutely. State what you tell me.
I'm sorry.
Hang on.
What was that, sir?
Hang on.
Okay.
I'm showing an adjudication withheld for a battery in 2012, an adjudication withheld for another battery in 2011 out of Fernando County for both. And that's all, Your Honor.
And, sir, I have an address for you on Pomeroy Road in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
12 years.
Do you have a job these days?
I'm unable to work now due to injuries I sustained.
Okay. I'll set your bond at $10,000. Condition of the bond is that you'll have no contact with the alleged victim. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Can I have 30 seconds of your time, sir?
Sure, go ahead.
My family's really poor, and I got a bunch of doctor's appointments coming up. I plan on being at every court date and everything. Even at 1,000, is there any way you could reduce it more? I mean, anything. My family's doing everything.
And Mr. Lam, here's what went into this consideration for me. One, you've got 2 prior batteries, okay? So this is a third one. 2, this one, because it happened in context allegedly of a burglary, is a life felony. The potential penalty for you here is life in prison. All right? That's where you're at now. So the scheduled bond, the bond I can set without any worry about anyone calling my decision out of line, is $25,000. I've reduced it to $10,000, and that's as far as it's going to go. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Be back in court on the 21st August.
Okay.
Thank you. David Lazensky. Morning, David. What's your date of birth?
10/29/1965.
And David, I got 3 new charges this morning: driving on a suspended license, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of methamphetamine, and then it appears you're also currently on felony probation. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a probable cause arrest for the VOP, and probable cause all the way around. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. And then what we'll do with these is, on the new charges, I'll leave the bonds per the schedule, which is $500 on the driving, $1,000 on the paraphernalia, and $2,000 on the meth. The bond on the VOP, of course, is going to be no bond. I've appointed the public defender in both cases. All of these things are coming back on the 21st of August, and the public defender will come see you before then, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Jesus Perez. sir, what's your date of birth?
10/5/92.
This morning I have felony possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia. If there's probable cause for those charges, as to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire a private counsel, or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
I'm showing a probation violation in 2016 as well as a resisting officer charged with no disposition in 2016 and a DUI with no disposition in 2015 out of Pasco County.
And Mr. Perez, I have an address for you on MLK Boulevard in Tampa. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
4 years.
You have a job these days?
I had one until last night.
Okay. What were you doing for work?
I was doing cleaning.
Okay. I'll set your bond at $1,000 on each count. That's a total of $2,000. I'll have you back in court on August 21st. If you bond out, make sure you contact the public defender right away, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Scarangella.
Yes, sir.
Morning, sir. Date of birth?
4/24/81.
Got two charges this morning. I've got battery on a person 65 or older and false imprisonment. Those charges are domestic in nature. As to those charges, there's probable cause. You want to represent yourself. You want to hire a private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please, Your Honor.
Appoint the PD, state.
On aggravated stalking after injunction for protection, disposition guilty in 2010 out of Hernando County. A simple battery, 2008, disposition guilty out of Hernando County. A cocaine charge, distribution, disposition guilty in 2009. Principal to sale of cocaine, disposition guilty in 2009. And a possession of cocaine in 2009, disposition guilty, all out of Hernando County. A probation violation reference out of Hernando County in 2006. A stalking charge, disposition guilty, 2006 out of Hernando County in 2005. A sale of cocaine, 2005, disposition guilty. A probation violation reference out of Hernando County in 2004. A battery in 2003, disposition guilty out of Hernando County. A escape while in transport or work on roads, 2000, adjudication withheld. A resisting law enforcement officer with violence, disposition withheld.
That's good. That's good. All right, Nick, I've got an address for you on River Run in Spring Hill. Is that where you were living?
Yes, sir.
Is that your dad's house?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. You got a job these days?
Yes, I'm a handyman. Construction is pretty much whatever is available.
Okay. I'll set the bond on the battery at $2,500. I'll leave the bond on the false imprisonment at the schedule, which is $5,000. That's a total of $7,500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Vito. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir.
And you understood that?
Yes, sir.
Also have to hold you up until 4, so if he wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. As far as that River Run Boulevard is concerned, if you get out, you can go back there one time to collect your things, your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need, wherever you plan to stay. But to do that, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They'll meet you there with a deputy. You'll have a few minutes to grab your things, get going where you're going. I'll have you back in court on the 21st of August. Obviously, very important that you contact the PD if you get out, all right?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Valerie St. Louis. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
7/29/89.
You're here on a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for one count of battery being domestic in nature. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender? I'll go ahead and appoint the public defender. State what can you tell me?
The defendant has a driving while license suspended or revoked open case 18 CT 2106 that's set for you for August 1st of 2018. So the state would ask to RCO him based on a new offense during that time, that being a driving charge and this being a charge that is more severe with battery with a victim There's also a charge for false verification of ownership in 2013, which he took PTI for, a fraud in 2013, which was PTI, and that was both out of Pasco County, as well as a dropped battery in 2011 out of Pasco County, and a driving with a license suspended, no disposition out of Hillsborough County in 2011.
Okay.
What was the RCO on?
It's 18 CT 2106 is the traffic case.
Thank you.
I may not do that, so. All right, and Mr. St. Louis, I have an address for you on Ceylon Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
About
About
5 years.
Okay.
5 years.
Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir. I work for Yellowstone Landscaping.
Okay. And you're currently living with Ms. Johnson?
More or less.
Okay. Was she staying in Ceylon Drive last night?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Bobby. Did you hear me explain that a minute ago?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand it?
I do.
Okay. Also have to hold you, I'm going to hold you, well, I don't have to hold you on this case. The other thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to move this case to the 1st of August. Now I want you to understand something, Mr. St. Louis. The state asked me to revoke your pretrial release on your CT case, on the other case that you have in front of me. And most of the time that's what I do, which means you'd be staying in jail for the rest of the week until you came to court next week. I'm going to give you the opportunity to bond out. I don't know if you can, but I'll give you the opportunity to bond out. But what that means is no more problems. You can't have any more arrests, no more tickets, no more run-ins with law enforcement, anything like that will have you back in jail without bond, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So $1,000, no contact. August 1st on this one, which is where your other case is. Make sure you contact the PD when you get out, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. And then we're just going to go ahead and do Mr. Tozy without his presence, right?
Yes, please.
Perfect. All right. He has a charge of trespass. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, I'm going to appoint the public defender. I'm going to set the bond on that at $1,000. That's going to come back August 17th. And then I will note that he was out on bond in 18 CF 1432. And I'm going to then, pursuant to Florida statute 903.0471, revoke his pretrial release, having found that he's committed a new crime while out on bond. And we'll hold him on no bond on that one until he gets back in front of Judge Toner on the 3rd of August. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, on